Hello, my name is Bruce, and I'm the owner of It's Maid Day. We're the largest home cleaning business in the state of Georgia. I'm also the owner of Maid Training Academy, the largest online school for professional home cleaners in the world, with thousands of individual cleaners and students and over 300 maid companies using our training system every day to teach people how to professionally clean homes. I'm also the owner of PriceYourCleaning.com, the most powerful pricing tool, online pricing tool in the home cleaning industry, starting at a low cost of just $20 a month. I've included links to those companies in the description below. This is the only video on YouTube that talks about employee turnover rates for home cleaners. Isn't that interesting? Why would anyone want to know this? Well, there's actually three people that need to know. The first is business owners of maid service. There isn't much data on turnover rates for the industry. I'm going to share with you the turnover rates of all businesses first, not just maid companies, but all businesses, then the most common turnover rate for the used for the maid service industry, and then I'm going to share with you our turnover rate for the past 10 years. I think you're going to be very surprised by the data. The next person that would be interested in this video is a professional cleaner. If you're in the business or thinking about getting into the business, you may want to know more about turnover. We will talk about the top reasons why people get out of the business and what you can do to better position yourself to thrive in the business. And the third person that needs to know is the customer of maid service. Interesting, huh? Even the customer needs to know about this. Most customers want the same cleaners cleaning their home every time and often get frustrated because there are different cleaners that come to clean their home. Once you get a perspective in what is considered normal, you may understand why, and most importantly, what you can do to help reduce the turnover. Yeah, you play an important role in controlling turnover. So let's get started. First, let's look at turnover rates amongst all employers in the United States. Let me share this report with you here. Let me zoom this in a little bit here. So let's go ahead and do that now. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this data here is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit more. I think I'm in this full screen mode, so that might be a little hard without interrupting it. So hopefully you can see this. So this is recent data. This video is being shot on January the 21st, and this is data for 2004 and even 2003. So this is just one page from the report, and of course, you can go Google it yourself. So this shows all job openings in the United States. This shows how many hires, and the data is right below that bolded amount. And then total separations. And so if you look at the top, and the reason why I kept these job openings and hires is that way you can see in this table what's at the top. So these are actual the numbers, and then over here is the percentages. Okay, so you see November 23rd for that month, and then it goes about 10 months past that day to August of 24, to September 24, October 24, and then November of 2024. And then down here under the total separations, they have them broken out by size of companies. Okay, so 1 to 9 employees, then 10 to 49, 50 to 249, 250 to 99, 1,000 to 4,999, and then 5,000 above. So if you look over here, these are monthly numbers. Okay, so for total, the whole all companies, 3.8 in 1 month. Then that's November 23, and then 3.6, 3.6, 3.7, 3.5. So over the last couple of years, it's been pretty consistent. Now our company is the largest in Georgia. We fall between the 10 to 49 employees, and that number is about the same: 3.8, 3.9, 4.0, and so forth. And those numbers are about there's a little bit of variance here, but they're all about the same till you get to about 5,000 employees. So if we're just using my company size, between 10 and 49, we have about 38 employees. You'll see that that number is about 3.8% a month. You take that times 12 months, that's 45% for all public or private companies. It's not government, this is public or private companies. 10 to 49, that's 45%. That number probably is a surprise to you. Okay, but you'll soon see that most that turnover is with new employees. Most employees turn in the first 6 months. People quit jobs quickly if they don't like it. Now, if you look at large companies with 5,000 or more, they're about 17% annual turnover rate. So larger companies typically pay more, have better benefits, but also have stricter hiring standards or require more experience. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. So we'll stop that. Okay, back to me. Okay. So the turnover rates in the Maid business are higher than that. Okay. I'll share with you the average in the industry and then our turnover rates for each of the past 10 years. But before we go over those turnover rates for the maid industry, let me review the top reasons why cleaners quit or get fired. And as the largest company in Georgia, I want to tell you how we handle each of these issues to be the best in class. We're the largest, but we got to be the largest because as we started the company 15 years ago, we knew the only way we can get to be the largest. So we got there in about 8 years, 7 to 8 years. So a pretty rapid ascent. And I've owned other companies much larger prior to this. And I knew the only way we can get there is by being the best employer. Okay, so I want to share with you what we do before I share you my numbers on what we've experienced. And again, I think it'll be might be a little surprise on our numbers. So the leading cause of turnover in the maid service industry is attendance, as it is with pretty much all companies. So about 80% of our turnover every year is from attendance. And that's pretty much the same with all employers, not just the maid business. Now, we do provide all of our employees with 20 days off a year, starting out 20 days. Now, they accrue it, so they don't get all 20 days up front. They get like 13.34, whatever that number is, every month. And if you do that times 12, then you get the 20 days. Okay, so it's about 2 days every month for full time. Okay, 5 days a week. Once they get to 40 hours or 5 days over their allocation, we talk to them and say, hey, look, you're 40 hours over, you can't miss any more work. And if they continue to miss work, then we tell them we're going to have to move them to part-time. And of course, most people will say, but I need full-time work. I can't live on part-time. And we always tell them, but you're already working part-time. If you're missing more than 2 days every month, okay, and it's usually a day here and a day there, they're not working 5 days a week. They're usually working 4 days a week or even less. So what some people want, in this kind of new age for the past, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, is they want to work when it's convenient for them. And that just doesn't work for us, really, or any employer. So most of these employees with attendance issues quit soon after or get worse and not better about missing work. And cleaners seldom give notice, they just don't show up. And if they do give notice, they seldom work the notice. I'm going to give you a 2-week notice, and then they call out the next day. And they maybe show up a couple of days before they actually, just stop coming in. But I want to share with you the most common days missed. Okay, so let me share this with you real quick. So let me share my screen again. So if you can see that, so I forget what year this was, but basically we had 864 either scheduled or call outs during the year, okay? And if you look at that, Monday was the one that had the highest number of call outs. So 25% of our call outs or schedule time, but most of the Monday where people didn't, work, it's because they just didn't show up. They called out, I'm sick, I can't get to work, blah, blah, blah. Again, probably pretty standard in all businesses, but about 25% of our call outs happened on Monday. Second biggest day is Friday. Almost 23% of our call outs, or again, people schedule, if they schedule time off, they typically schedule for a Friday, or sometimes they schedule it for, if they have a nice long weekend they want to plan, then they sometimes will take off on Monday. But Friday is the second one, pretty close to Monday. And then the rest of them are about the same in that 16 to 18% range. So if you take a look at 255 working days, that's an average of 3.4 for us over 38 employees. So that's 8.9%. Let's just call it 10% of our cleaners call out every day. So if you're a maid company, you should staff about 10% more than your need if you have, your turnover in control to some degree. But you don't want to overstaff, because then if everyone shows up, then cleaners get less than a full day and then they quit, leading to more turnover, and it just is a vicious cycle. All right. So let me stop sharing my screen here. Okay. So lots of people want their homes cleaned on a Friday, right before the weekend. That makes sense. But it's also the second most common day where people call out or schedule time off. So if you want a day that has the lowest chance of having a different team or cleaners clean your home, Wednesday's the best day. So that's good. So good information. The second reason why people don't make it in the home cleaning business is it's hard work, and you have to work at a good pace or have good speed. It's not about being fast. Customers do not like to see people rushing in their home. You're going to not do good work. You're going to miss stuff. You might even break stuff. Okay, but you sure can't be slow. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you need to be about 7 to 8 as far as your work speed. And we often, as we recruit, we tell people, take a look at some of the videos we have posted on our employment page, because we actually have real cleaners and real customers' homes. And most of the time they say, well, they're not going fast. I'm like, well, they're not going fast, but they're not going slow. But what they're doing is they're not interrupting their cleaning. They're continuously going from one task to the next, and they're just continuing to do that without interruption. So the average time in a home is about 2 hours. Actually, it's an hour and 47 minutes to be exact. Let's just call it 2 hours. And some jobs are an hour, not very many. So, but 2 is about the average. So if you cannot work on your feet for 2 hours doing your cleaning tasks without interruption, you're just not going to make it as a professional home cleaner. And not just with us, but with any professional maid company. We clean 3 houses a day on a team of 2 for about 6 hours of cleaning a day, with about 30 minutes of drive time in between jobs, 5 days a week. So this is not an easy job. If people don't have cleaning experience, we will hire people who have worked in retail or the food industry, warehouse, or merchandising. I think warehouse is certainly harder than cleaning, just because of the physical, and it's usually in hot or cold places. These people are used to working on their feet, 8 hours a day. And we have hired people that have worked from an office setting, but not too often, because they're just so overwhelmed with how physically hard it is. People that first get into the home cleaning business often think, well, it's like cleaning our own home. Not even close to that. It's laughable. It's a job that you're going to cut a sweat in. You'll sweat, especially in the summertime, or if you're in a shower, it's a little tighter, a little more humid. I mean, you're going to sweat. And in the world of cleaning jobs, home cleaning is the most physically challenging and the highest skill set. They say that commercial cleaning, you're not cleaning really kitchens. You might have a break room. You're not cleaning kitchen. You're not doing showers. You don't have pets. You don't have a lot of stuff that you have to dust that's unique. Then, kind of above that on a pyramid is probably hotels, again, because people aren't cooking there. They don't have pets. It's not day-to-day stuff. They're there for a night or two, and sometimes it's longer, like an extended stay place, a little bit more challenging, a little bit more dirty. Then maybe hospital cleaning, but again, you're not dealing with kitchens or pets and stuff like that, or just accumulation of dust. And then at the very top of that pyramid is going to sit residential. And some people in the industry who've kind of gone that path tend to like home cleaning better because it's more challenging. They're not in a building every day. But compared to those other types of cleaning where you're pushing a cart with your cleaning supplies, you're carrying it in from the car from outside. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes it's really hot. You're carrying it upstairs. If it's a 3-story house, you're going to all 3 floors. If it's a 2-story, you're definitely going upstairs, which most of our customers, we do the main floor and the upstairs. And sometimes we'll do the basement if there's one. So it's a lot more physical, and sometimes people just can't cut it. Okay. Um, People that work in the home cleaning business are incredible. My respect for cleaners could not be any higher. Okay. It's hard work and it takes a great skill set. I think that's the other thing too, people are shocked at during our training program. They're like, wow, there's a lot to this. I thought it was just, vacuuming and, running a rag across. No. To be a great, I mean, anybody can clean. But to be a great cleaner or to be successful in this business, you have to have the training. You have to be taught all these little things. And our training is a minimum of a week and about 3 days of classroom training in total. Okay. And sometimes that's spread out over a little bit of time. Okay. Next thing, compensation. That's the next reason why people leave. Although we pay more than our competitors, people can find other work for the same pay that may not be as challenging, both physically and skill based. Now we pay $17 to $25 an hour, which is definitely at the highest end of the spectrum. So if you have no experience, we can start you at 17 or higher, and so it's 17 to 25 plus tips and bonuses. And our senior work from home cleaners, which we're the only ones in Atlanta that have really 2 categories, team cleaning and individual cleaning. We have these people that are really the cream of the crop of our people that work from home, and they can earn up to $30 an hour. And tips for cleaners paid through the company averages between $50 and $100 a week. Some make much more, but those are cleaners who have been with us, for a year or more, and their customers really get to know them. They really trust them. They really, I'm going to say cherish them, but they certainly don't want to lose them. So they understand, so they just tip more and more often. And that doesn't count also the tips they get paid directly. We can't track, and although it's supposed to file that on their taxes, we don't always know if the customer tipped them directly. Okay. And the reason I'm telling this is, again, I'm going to show my numbers in a minute here. And we also provide annual pay increases every year. We also have a consistent quality bonus. If they can go 3 months without a complaint, they earn a $500 bonus. Nobody that I know does that. But again, I only know people in the Atlanta metro area. And most of our cleaners earn that bonus every time because they're just that good and dedicated and consistent. And our success in compensation goes beyond pay. We spend over $700 on each new cleaner in training, both practical and classroom. All cleaners get their professional certificate from Maid Training Academy, the world's largest leader, the world leader in professional home cleaning training. New cleaners have, sometimes new cleaners who have not been adequately trained with other companies, they just don't last long. They end up getting complaints, they get frustrated, they get in trouble because the customer complaint. But is it really their fault if they've not been properly trained? And that's not just with our business, with any business. Okay, so that's another reason why it's important to have a structured training program, a written program with testing. And again, I encourage you to check out Maid Training Academy. We're the largest in the world for a reason. It's only a couple of $100 a year to train all of your cleaners, not per cleaner, but for all of your cleaners, up to 50 cleaners a year. And if you're an individual cleaner, it's just $100. That's a great program, a series of classes, videos, testing. Click on the link below for more information. The next thing is a lot of cleaners get paid as a contractor. Okay, they're not W-2. And cleaners who have, who we've interviewed, like, why are you leaving that company, or why are you leaving working on your own? Is many companies do pay their cleaners as contract labor. A lot of them do. Many of them, based on the definition of an employer-employee relationship, probably bending or breaking the law. But you also have these job apps where they just connect cleaners and customers. They're legit. Okay, they're not doing anything wrong. But the issue of not knowing about what it means to be a contractor can be a real nightmare come tax time. This may be the first time they've ever worked as a contractor, and when they learn that the employer didn't take out money for taxes, they learn that they have a big tax bill when they file their taxes, not just the money that they usually get taken out as a W-2 employee, but also they have to pay self-employment tax, which is an additional 15%. So they didn't take out the money from what you got paid gross. And on top of that, you owe another 15%. And so you have this gigantic tax bill, and you're supposed to, if you're self-employed, pay your tax bill quarterly. So every 3 months, every quarter, you're supposed to write a check and send it into, state and local and federal, okay, whatever the case might be. Next thing is not having enough work as promised. This is a big one. This one we see a lot. It's a common complaint we hear when interviewing people who've just left a Maid company or even those job apps. They're just not getting enough work. Now, sometimes if they're not getting enough work, probably maybe because they weren't a good cleaner. They just were getting weeded out. Okay, but most of it is that it's often that companies just don't have enough work. They overhire. And that's a problem when everybody does show up. We do keep our cleaners busy. We don't overhire. We do have a pretty strict, even though we have a very liberal time off policy, but we don't overhire beyond the 10% on average for callouts. That way we can provide our cleaners a fairly predictable paycheck every week. We also have company cars. Many Maid companies require the cleaner to drive their own car. Now, if they clean by themselves, that's okay because they're not doing a lot of driving. Typically, you'll do 2 houses if you're cleaning by yourself. Okay. But if you're cleaning on a team and driving your own car, you're doing 3 or even 4. I've heard people even say as many as 5 houses in a day with a team, and they're putting a ton of miles on their car, and their car either just stops working, breaks down, or they just realize, hey man, I'm even though I may be getting some stipend or something, it just can't afford to do that anymore. Okay. Um, Now our cleaners also get paid time off starting at 6 months, and then they get 1 week of paid time off at a year, 2 weeks at 2 years, and 3 weeks of paid time off after 4 years. And not too many companies in general do that. And there's a reason why I'm telling you this, because I'm going to get in just a minute here. I'm going to show our numbers. We also provide insurance benefits. We have just about everything out there, and a 401k. We have a professional, organized, and fun work environment. Full-time area managers that care and connect and talk with the cleaners every day to make sure they're happy, they have everything, they have a problem, we can talk about it. So we really do have a good operating system to support our staff. But some cleaners will quit because they're working for a small company that may not be very organized. Doesn't take much to get into the business, or they're not communicating well with their staff. That's a classic. Or they don't give them the right tools, or or the cleaning solutions. Just kind of the standard stuff. And we are clearly not the best. We're clearly the best employer for house cleaners in Georgia. I follow about 60 Maid companies, go to their employment page, all that interviewing. And so, I really feel confident that we do a ton more, not just a little bit better. We are substantially better. And people tell us that. Well, you do this and that. I mean, it's a bunch of little things too. I won't go through all that. I'm not here to sell you on its Maid Day. I'm trying to let you know that we really are the best place in town to work before I share my turnover rates. So let me give you the industry average. Prior to the pandemic, some sources, nothing like super official, like through the government or the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they don't track maid service. They had the turnover rate at 300%. Oh, get your head wrapped around that. So if you have 10 cleaners, that means you're going to hire or fire 30 cleaners that year in 1 year at 300%. Isn't that just crazy? And I went through, why there's a lot of turnover. Now let's look at our turnover rate. Now keep in mind again, we're the best, all that stuff, 60 maid companies we follow, we pay more, we do more. So without further delay, let me show you our numbers. Hope you're sitting down. Here it is. Going back to 2015 through 2024, since we just finished the year, and we have these numbers here. So starting in 2015, we had 129% turnover. 2016, 189%. Again, we just looked at the other, average in other private sectors, and they're like 47%. So we are 4 times that number, but yet lower than the industry average prior to the pandemic, which I've seen from a couple of different sources that 300% was a number that's thrown out there a lot. 118, and you'll see here there's an orange is voluntary, they just quit, okay, and the blue is that we terminated them, okay. And then in 2018, it jumped to 220. Now, the whole time here, we're growing. We've grown every year except the last year. 2024 is kind of a soft year. Economy wasn't doing so well. There's an election coming up. It's slowed down a little bit for sure across all segments. Okay. But again, during this growth, we're hiring more to fill the growing need, which means we're also, having a lot more turnover on these new people. But anyway, 220%, then it dropped down to 157. Then in 2020, 192%. That's when the pandemic hit, which, it happened in April. We basically shut down for about 2 months. We got back on our feet. We're an essential business. Slowly, customers like, okay, you can come through. Just as we all know, it was a nightmare. And then in 2021, when it kind of got back to, you can hire people, as we all know, all kinds of employment problems, not just with us, but just nationwide. People were getting paid to stay home. There was still concern about COVID, all these concerns, all these problems, and increased labor cost. This is when we saw a gigantic jump in labor costs, especially for maid service, because you're in people's homes too. So we jumped to a staggering 406%. Oh my God, a nightmare. I talked to a lot of maid companies through Maid Training Academy, and a lot of companies were experiencing the same thing. I don't know if theirs was 400. They just got out. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard. I can't find people, and they're leaving. It was just brutal. And then it got a little bit better in 2022. Still, inflation's rampant. We have, rising costs across the board. Our pay is increasing. We had to pass along those increases to customers. It was just ugly. Got a little bit better, but not much. And then last year, 193, which kind of got back a little bit, kind of the pre-pandemic, which I think it's still atrociously high. Okay, but in reality, this is like if you're a customer, and I'm going to put a little better understanding to these numbers in just a second. But these are the numbers for our company. It's Maid Day in Atlanta, Georgia, with multiple locations and over 8,000 homes cleaned last year. To give you some perspective, cleaned over 8,000 homes last year. So to give you an idea of how big we are. Now, the next number I want to share with you is where did that come over? Where did that come from? So this is from last year. So this is voluntary, and this is terminated. So I showed you this report here, different colors, but same thing. So again, the number of people that we terminated for reasons, and again, attendance is by far number one. About the same number here, but you'll see that about 70% were voluntary, where they just quit. And again, sometimes if you write somebody up, hey man, your attendance is not good. If you don't get it together, we're going to put you to part-time. Then they just end up leaving. Okay. But this is the number that's very interesting. So 78% of our turnover came from people that worked for us for less than 6 months. And if you look at it, the report doesn't allow us to set these parameters. But by looking, at the Excel report of when they, you know, 77% of this was in the first 2 months. Okay. So 75% of our turnovers within the first 2 months. If someone makes it 6 months, our turnover is about 20% a year, which is great and close to what large companies experience. Okay. So the 25% new people, they're just churning all the time, churning all the time. I'm going to step away from this particular report here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So if you look at all of our cleaners here, it was that bottom percent that just churn, 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 churn. And the 75 to maybe, it's probably 70%, 75% of our people, they stay. It's just that bottom percent just churns, okay? And so about 75% of our customers are seeing the same cleaners every time or most of the time we clean their home. Now, I have another video on this topic of customers who want to see the same cleaners every time. Is that doable? The answer is yes. There's a solution. We have great success with those customers who demand the same person every time. I'll launch that video in a few weeks, and I'll put the link in the description below once we launch that. But that certainly is doable, but it's a give and take for sure. And we can't do that for everybody because, well, watch the video, okay? But and some people are like, I don't care who you send, just clean my house. They're not really hung up on who comes, but they still, as a general rule, who doesn't like to see the same people every time? Okay. So what have we done in the past 15 years to kind of bend that curve? Something that we can, improve those numbers. Let me run through that quickly. Okay. So we've tried part-time cleaners. That didn't work. Part-time cleaners tend to be people looking for a different job somewhere else and just need a job to make ends meet. Sometimes they don't care as much. It's not a full-time job. It's part-time in their minds. Like, I can do kind of mediocre work. Can't do that in the maid business. You get fired. Customers are very picky. It's not cheap. They want it done right, and they're right. They're paying a lot, and it needs to be done right. Okay, so part-time just doesn't work, and it costs us the same to train a part-time cleaner. Again, it costs us $700 to train somebody. $700. Okay, so that cost is the same whether it's part-time or full-time. So it almost doubles our training costs because if someone's only going to work 2 or 3 days a week, I need 2 of those. So now to fill that week's spot, it's going to cost me $1,400. So that just doesn't make sense. And we tried it, but it just doesn't ever work. And when someone is a good cleaner who has attendance problems, we do offer them part-time, but of course, they object. I can't work part-time. And then we tell them, but you're not working part-time. You're not working full-time. You're working part-time. But I got to have full-time. But you haven't been working full-time. We've also tried overhiring. If you have a lot of call-outs, then just overstaff. That's how we're going to manage these high absences. That works until everyone shows up, and then everyone gets a short day because we have more workers than jobs. So again, that doesn't work. And we do provide the 20 days off. That's help. We can't really do more beyond that, and that's again double more. Can we pay more? How about that? How about just pay more? Okay. Well, we already pay more than the other maid company, and we still are market competitive because we have to be, or no one's going to buy our services. We get prices from all our competitors every year, and we're right in the middle of the price range. Some areas we're a little bit lower than the average or the median, not the average, but the median number. Some may be a little bit above the median, but not by much. But we're always in that middle range. But because we're large in comparison to other maid companies, we do have some economies of scale. We do run in a very efficient company. Our profit margins are low. Okay. Sometimes they're single digit. Okay. So we really can't pay them more and stay in business. However, we tried paying them a lot more as a brand new employee at the gate. So for about 6 months, we said, let's just pay them $30 an hour. Surely that will work. Surely we'll get a better person if we pay them more. Oh, classic mistake. And we do have our senior work from home cleaners get, make up to $30 an hour. Okay. So we did that, and did it work? No, it didn't. Our turnover is about the same. So, you can't pay your way into finding a better person. So what we do is that we are constantly looking, as we have this turnover, for true professional cleaners. Ideally, if they work for other maid companies, so they know how good they have it here with us, and they usually identify, oh my gosh, you do. And again, there's a lot of little things that we do that you may not even appreciate unless you've been a professional cleaner. Okay. And then, once we find them, okay, or they find us, okay, and we do have a good reputation. We do have people that call us, and sometimes we just tell them, hey, we don't need anybody right now, but we'll put you on a waiting list. And by the time we get back with them, they've got another job, or a lot of them just have just left the industry. Just like, I'm done with it. Okay. And sometimes cleaners with experience, well, and sometimes the best cleaners have no experience. And sometimes cleaners have experience are not very good, or have bad attendance. You just don't know until you give them a chance. But that can be expensive. That is expensive. As I mentioned, that 80% turnover is in that first few months. We're like a prospector. I tell the people this all the time, but it makes sense. We're like a prospector standing in a creek, prospecting for gold. We got that pan, that prospector's pan, and we're scooping up some dirt, whatever, and we're looking in that. And we're like, look at that. Is that good? No, that's no good. And throw it out and sand some more. So we're just trying people, and if they work out, we hold on to them, and then we really treat them because they are as like gold. They're priceless. In our company, we refer to them as unicorns. You just don't find many people like that. And what's interesting is that these awesome cleaners, they really don't do it for the money. Yes, it helps that we pay more than anyone else, and that we really take good care of them in a lot of different ways. But these gems, they just love to clean. They're true professionals in every sense of the word. And what they're looking for is a good place to work. What does that mean? Treats them with respect, has a little bit of flexibility. A lot of our cleaners are mothers. Okay, some of them are single mothers, but a lot of them have family, so I have a little flexibility on that. And keep them busy. It's a big deal. And treat them like the professionals they are. And that's a big deal in every business, After we get through training, we really kind of get out of their way. We give them the support, we give them busy, but we try not to micromanage them. I have confidence in you. We have checks and balances to make sure our quality is there. We do have area managers to go out and inspect them periodically, make sure they're okay. But as a general, hey, we treat them like professionals. We know they know how to do the job. Just do the job. Great. So that's what we do. And so the question is now, what can customers do? What can customers do to help with turnover? Customers, I mentioned before, they want to see the same people clean their home. Some will even cancel service because we send different cleaners from time to time. I get that, you know. And there's a lot more to it than turnover. As I mentioned, I'm going to have a video that I'm going to post later that talks about if that's what's critically important to you. And I get that. You want what you want. There are solutions about that, okay? But there are some things that you can do, okay? So let me go through them. Be nice and tell your cleaners you appreciate them. Duh. But it's a big deal. We have great customers, and most of them do that. They tell their cleaners how much they appreciate them. That's why 70% or more of our cleaners stay long term. I've got cleaners who have been here over 10 years. They love to clean houses and they love their customers. So thank you, customers who show your appreciation and do all the other little things like, get your house ready for us to come clean. The old joke, I got to clean the house so that people can come clean the house, right? So, all those little things you can do, to let your cleaners work in a great environment, but really just telling them how much you appreciate that. Cleaners are doing the job most people just don't want to do or can't do. So this is no different than if you were a policeman or first responders or nurse, I'm not kidding. I'm 100% serious about this. But as cleaners, they're often underappreciated. So every once in a while, we run into a customer that's nasty or rude to our customers. Again, last year we cleaned 8,000 homes. So to give a perspective to that, if that happens, most times we fire the customer. So again, 8,000 jobs last year. We terminated. We told the customer we're just not a good fit. And if they ask, we tell them, I mean, our people don't want to come clean your house. You're mean to them, or there's a whole bunch of things that we just tell them, like, and we don't, what we'll do is we'll call them and say, look, hey, this is what we're experiencing. Just want to let you know we can't do that. But if it's a situation that's out of bounds, we'll just tell them we're just not going to come back. Okay. And so 5 customers, I think I ran the numbers. 5 customers last year, we just told them we're not coming back. Okay. And some of those we worked with, it's in their nature, they just wasn't a good fit. Okay. Tip your cleaners. About 20% to 25% of our customers tip directly to the cleaners. It's not required, but it's always appreciated. Doesn't have to be a large tip. $10 per cleaner goes a long way. It's a great way to say thank you and that we appreciate you. And I can promise you, cleaners do not call out on days that they know they have a tip house. Hey, where'd Mrs. Johnson go? She's a tip house. You didn't move that. You didn't move Mrs. Johnson from me. They know. You think they do a better job because you tip them a little bit? $10? Absolutely. All of our people do a great job every single time, but you know what I'm saying? Next thing you can do is you can post a favorable review online. This is a big deal for our cleaners specifically. We bonus our cleaners when a customer leaves a favorable review. We tell our customers it's like tipping for free. And if your Maid company doesn't bonus cleaners for good reviews, I bet they'll still share those reviews with them. That's a great way for customers, especially if they're not at home when the cleaners are cleaning, which is about half the time, to let them know that you really appreciate that. We read them out at our weekly staff meetings. We forward it to them. Okay, so they can maybe even share that on their Facebook page or whatever. So, doing a favorable online review. And if you have a problem, just let us know, like every Maid company, and we work through those things. But if you're really happy with their work, just post a review. And you can do a review every time they show up. Some review sites will limit how many you can't do, like 3 a day. Okay, but if you have monthly service, you can do it every month. Okay. Here's the big one. Ready for the big one? Mr. Customer, don't cancel your service with less than a week's notice. This is probably number one reason why good cleaners leave the business is inconsistent pay. We understand that things can come up for homeowners. Our company, we give all of our recurring customers 2 free late cancellations, and we consider late anything within a week's time, a year without penalty. If it happens a third time, they pay 50% of the fee, and on the 4th time, they have to pay the entire fee. Okay. Imagine if your employer called you the day before and said, hey, we just don't need you tomorrow. How long would you stay at that job? Not like a restaurant where there's customers coming in all the time. They've blocked out that time for that job. And here's the other thing too. New customers don't schedule service the same day or even the next day. Most new customers schedule a week out. We've tried that. Hey, we're going to open the market. Oh no, we got to get ready, and I got things going on, and we'll see you next week. So it's nearly impossible to fill in that gap. Okay, without a week's notice. Okay, and the main reason why customers will cancel or skip a service is they're not going to be at home. That's not really a great excuse. I mean, I get it, but most companies, not all, we have ours posted on our website. Most companies are bonded and insured. That's why we put on our website our certificate of insurance, so you can see it's up to date. You can call the insurance company, verify we pay the bill every month, all that stuff. So if your company's bonded and insured, then that's one way you can, to avoid having to cancel is that, you don't really need to be there. And about half, maybe 60%, but at least half our customers, they're just not there. Okay. And, if you're worried about theft, just put your stuff away. That's what we tell. We have a video that we have. I can probably post that too, about theft claims. Who talks about that? Nobody, but we do. Okay. But just put your stuff away. Okay. Lock it up, put it in a safe, all those things. Um, but you can feel rest assured if you're dealing with a good company and they're bonded and insured that, you'll be safe. And then that way you don't have to cancel your service. Okay. And in fact, some cleaners will say, "Oh, you've assigned Mrs. Johnson to us. We don't want to go clean her house. She cancels too much." Happens, happens. No, they have bills to pay too. They have bills to pay too. So when you cancel and now they have a short day, I mean, it really hurts them. The other thing too is when they show up, don't start removing rooms. Oh, I know we had scheduled to do the basement. We don't need to do that today. That ain't good. Okay. They need a full day. If you would have told the office a week in advance, then they could put another job on their schedule so they could have a full day of cleaning. But when they show up and you're like, hey, let's remove this room and that room, they're like, wait a minute, man, now I'm going to have a short day. Okay, that's not good. The customer, you can help with that. Okay, if you need to remove rooms, just let us know in advance. Okay, so again, probably the number one complaint is too many cancellations and not having a full schedule. Here's the next one, and we have a video on this too. Don't ask your cleaners to work for free. What? What? Yep, that happens. That happens. Although it doesn't happen often, it does happen. We actually have this, free, YouTube 30-minute training video that all of our students go through, Maid Training Academy, worldwide, that talk about all of the ways customers will ask cleaners to work for free, and often the customer doesn't even realize it. Okay, here are a few examples. Okay, it's a 30-minute video, so I can only do a couple things here. Delaying the cleaners. Okay, so if you're meeting the cleaners or you ran out to the store, you're to let them in, not being at home when they arrive and they have to wait on you, time's money for sure for them. And asking them to wait means they're not getting paid for waiting. Waiting may delay them to get to the next customer's house who may not be able to wait. If you're 30 minutes or more late, now they're like, well, now we have to leave because the next customer we cannot be late at. Okay. So it just, delaying them, it can have a ripple effect the rest of the day. Asking them to wait while you take a shower. It happens. We're getting ready to clean the master bathroom now. Oh, I'm gonna pop in there real quick, take a shower. Are you kidding me? Really? And if the customers don't, sometimes they don't even realize it. That's why but we instruct our people to tell them, hey, we're going to have to just, take this room off your bill today because we got to go. We got to go to the next house. It'll only take a minute. No, it won't. Okay. Cooking in the kitchen while you're trying to clean. That happens. Asking them to clean a room, not including the service. And when the cleaners say, yeah, I'll go and call the office, I'll add that to your charge today. They're like, well, wait, it's only going to take a minute. Really? You want some free French fries with that Big Mac? Come on. Here's another one. This is, again, it's a big one. Again, none of these things are really a high frequency, but they happen. Slowing them down because you're micromanaging them. I'll say it. You didn't hire, at least with our company, and I'd say 98% of all Maid companies, you didn't hire labor. You hired a professional to clean based on a pre-approved list of cleaning tasks or rooms. When you hover or interrupt them over and over again, you are forcing them to spend more time on the job, which they're not being paid for. And trust me, for the most part, and I'd say with all of our people, they know what they're doing. At the end, if you want to walk the house with them, that's fine. But if you're micromanaging, I always like to say there's two types of customers. You know, one is they buy services, and the other one is they think they're buying labor. Okay, we're a maid service company. We're not a labor company. Okay, and sometimes people just they get it wrong. Okay, well that's it. I hope you've enjoyed our video, learned something new. If you're thinking about getting into the home cleaning business as a cleaner, I hope this video helps you find the right employer for you, whatever it may be. And sometimes these 1099 gigs, through these apps, they can be really good, but they may not keep you busy enough. And if if you are an employer, I hope you appreciate that you're not the only one struggling to find good help. I have a few friends in different businesses and industries, and they all say the same thing. It's classic. The hardest part is to find good people. So I'll post a video soon on what we do to find good people. So subscribe to our channel for more videos and announcements of new video postings. And if you are a customer who gets their home cleaned by these awesome people, let them know how much you appreciate what they do. I know it will mean the world to them. Thank you very much.